Greetings, my V family all over the world. I am blown out of my mind, guys. Well, firstly, I love you guys wherever you are in the world. And I hope that day 2 is getting you there. All right? I mean, I was listening to Kavita. Guys, if you want to reach the pinnacle of success, Kavita is living proof of that. All right? A woman who's willing to pay the price, walk the talk, but most importantly, all right, works from her heart. So Kavita, if you're watching this, unbelievable session. I love you. All right? Thanks for inspiring 500,000 people around the world. And then I was listening to the testimonies. Okay, we had Ibu Yuli from Indonesia. We have Evgeny from Russia. All right, we had Sabine. All right, je t'aime, everyone in the French-speaking countries. We had Surender speak again from his heart about his journey. We had AVP Hamid. All right, I love you, Habibi, Hamid, wherever you're watching this from. I love you. Hearing your story filled my heart. I love you, Habibi. And then you had my brother, the one and only V partner, Arun George. All right, talking about paying the price. And Arun, I love what you said. That should be on a t-shirt. You got to love the process. You got to love the rejections. You got to love the battles. You got to love every single part of that journey that is going to get you finally to financial freedom. And that's why I started with the song, I Don't Care, I Love It. And we have reached the point now of, I call it the line, okay, where we cross from all of us to the line crossing to the great ones. So the remainder of the night, you are going to be listening to Japadas, Bismarck, and Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. And before I bring Japa up, Japa, if you're listening, I hope I have 10 minutes. All right? You see, guys, today, from the time I spoke to you, and I just want to say sorry, guys, if I sounded a bit emotional talking about my Amma. I was just telling Kuna and Sati earlier that I don't see this video very often of my mom. And I got photos of her all over my house, but watching that video brought back, so many good memories, great memories. And just remember her. That's all I'm asking you guys. And I hope you guys found your dream. And if you listen to every V partner, AVP and V council or V elite leader who spoke, all of them, they spoke about finding their dream. All right? And how important that dream was to keep them going. They spoke about paying the price. All right? They spoke about consistency. They spoke about the importance of presentation. Okay, that is the answer. But I want to add one more thing that all of them actually did in their minds. Is they made the decision. Now this is something I always talk about VCon, and I asked Kalai for some time today just to talk to you about this. I believe that the mistaken belief of a networker is when they think the day they went online to the beautiful e-store of QNet and they signed up, bought a product, put in their details, that was the decision. That's not. You see, in life, Dato Sri Vijay always told me, Patman, we make thousands of decisions in a day. You woke up this morning. You decided what to wear, how to put your hair. All right? what you're going to eat for lunch or dinner, how you're going to get to the venue, all right, or where you're going to sit in your home with your family to watch this week on. So you made thousands of decisions today. And in life, we make these decisions all the time. But Dato Sri Vijay taught me, when I started this journey, he said, Padman, have you made the decision? And I was frustrated because I said, I'm here. I've been doing presentation every day, Ane. All right? He said, yeah. Good. But have you made the decision? Now, I never understood what he meant by that. All right? But every time I sat with him, to learn and counsel with him, I went back home and he kept asking me this question. Have you made the decision? And one day he gave me the clarity. And I want to share this with you. Especially the new guys who are watching us today. Listen very carefully to me. In life, we make many decisions, which are small, insignificant, and part of our daily journey. But we also make big decisions. And I analyzed people's lives, the people I know. Most humans don't make more than 5 big decisions. And big decisions require a change in the way you live. See, where you go for lunch or dinner does not push you to change who you are. It doesn't push you to grow and evolve to become a better person. That means, think about it. I go to this restaurant, I can be Padman. But if I go to this restaurant, that's a big decision. I have to grow, all right, here before I go to that restaurant. It doesn't happen. But Dato Sri Vijay says, and he told me, and I was lucky to hear this, I think I was 23 or 24, all right, like last year, okay? And he told me, Padman, think about it. How many big decisions have you really made? Now, I think you don't make decisions when you are young. All our decisions were made by our parents. My mom dressed me up, all right? I think the only time you make a big decision today in this generation is where you go after high school. What program you choose in the university. That would be the first big decision. The second big decision would be, what do you after you graduate? Do you work in this company? Do you move to another country to work, which youngsters are doing now, the millennials? That's the second big decision. Because it makes a big difference whether you work in your local company or you go and work in Google for a young person. The third big decision, I think, is the day you choose to share your journey of life with somebody and get married. That's a big decision. Some people may say not the wisest decision, but it's a big decision. Just think about it. You've been alone so long in your journey of life, and when you choose somebody to become your life partner, you give yourself completely to a partnership. That's maybe the third big decision. Then the most beautiful decision is one day when you choose to have children. And suddenly you realize that your legacy is going to continue. That somebody is there one day, your son, your daughter, and that completely changes your life. Now think about it. Let's analyze these 4 big decisions. If you choose to do a basic program in the university, you're going to have fun. You're going to party with your friends, play football, play cricket. But if you choose to become a doctor and go to a medical university, your life is zero. Your social life is zero. It's books, cutting up things. All right? Now, if you choose to work in a local company near your house with no ambition to grow in the company, life is easy. 9 to 5, go to work, come back home, go to work, come back home, go to work, come back home. But if you choose to travel abroad and work in the company and decide to grow, you go to work and you never come back home. You know what I mean? If you choose to get married, you can't live life like a bachelor or bachelorette anymore. You have accountability, responsibility. All right? And to the parents who have kids, when you have kids, wow, life changes freaking completely. That you are no longer the priority. There's a little pumpkin there who is a major priority. They need to be fed, changed, looked after, educated. That you almost sacrifice everything like our parents did to bring us up. And those 4 big decisions required, like Arun said, sacrifice. You have to pay a big price. Big price. You have to change the way you live. Now, my question to you, all of you watching me right now, what is QNet to you? Is it a small decision equaling to, choosing a restaurant or choosing a resort you're going for your holiday or a destination? Or is it the 5th or 4th big decision? Now let me tell you, I've been building this business for 23 years. I've seen everyone grow, succeed, quit, fail. I've seen it all. And there's one clear indication of the people who fail and quit. QNet was a small decision. It was something, I'll try. Let's see what happens. And I tell you this, or let me say this for my heart. If you want a hobby, get a goldfish, put it in a bowl and call it Jimmy. Like Surendra said, this is not a lollipop business. This is financial freedom. Something our parents did not have. Our great parents, the whole lineage, the whole parampara, as I say in Tamil, did not have it. And you want financial freedom. It cannot be a small decision. It's got to be a big decision. So today at this weekend on day 2, make the decision. And that's when I understood what Dato Sri Vijay was telling me. Every day I sat in his house. He kept asking me, Padman, have you made the decision? QNet cannot be a decision. QNet must be one of the big 5, the decision. Only then will you come here and speak. Kavita made it a big decision in her life. Yuli, Surendra, right? Hamid, Sabine, right? Evgeny, okay? Arun, you ask any one of them. They made it big decisions. And when QNet is a big decision, your life has to change. There must be sacrifice. Ask any mother after the child is born whether they have to make sacrifices. So the challenge you face, the frustration you face, is because if it's a small decision, it's easy to quit. Golf is easy to quit. A goldfish is easy to quit. A child you can never quit. You're a parent for life. Are you guys with me? So today, make QNet a big decision. And your ultimate goal from the time you make it a big decision until you reach financial freedom is to keep that decision alive. It's like a small flame. It's a candle. There's going to be winds blowing. There's going to be people trying to do. Your job is to keep that flame alive. So if you ask me what I've done for 23 years, is keep my decision alive. I never allowed it to die. I never allowed anyone to kill it. I never allowed my circumstances, my challenges to keep it. So if you ask who is Arun George, he's a man who kept his decision alive. Who is Kavita? She's a woman who kept her decision alive. And those who choose to make QNet a big decision, then your only goal on your path to financial freedom is to keep that decision alive at any price, at any cost. And I promise you, you will reach financial freedom. So if you are listening to me, look at me carefully. Be honest with yourself. Have you really thought about what decision is QNet? Small and insignificant, or one of the 3, 4, 5 big decisions of your life? That's what you must make it. Just a paradigm shift. And then, with the support of your uplines, like all the testimonies, with the support of the V, with the guidance of the great ones, Japadas, Bismarck, Dato Sri Vijay, with this week on, right, with the Wednesday message, with everything out there, you have enough support from your family to keep this decision alive. So every day when you wake up in the morning, put your finger on your decision pulse. If you hear a beat, you're on track. Are you guys with me? Sometimes the pulse is weaker, and I bet you after these 3 days of VCon, it'll be like boom, 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 boom. That's how hard the beat of your decision will be. Are you guys with me? So if you want to know how you're going to reach the ultimate destination, is make it a big decision and keep it alive. And this evening, you're going to be listening to one of the great ones, Japadas Bismarck. Now, I have known Japa for 23 years as a young man. And I will tell you, I heard stories about Japa from Dato Sri Vijay in Malaysia. And finally, Japa came to Malaysia. And he sat there. And I was very, very nervous in his presence. I don't know why. But Japa has this amazing stillness about him. That for some reason, when I think of Japadas Bismarck in the early days, he looked like he was completely at peace with himself. That he truly surrendered to the master plan. That he's one of these people who go with the flow with such comfort and determination. And then one day I had the privilege with a lot of the Malaysians to listen to him speak on stage. And Dato Sri kept telling me, you got to listen to Japa. And you know me, I'm used to people who are a bit of a rara, you understand? But when I heard Japa speak, I didn't move an inch. Because it's very rare to find sincerity in today's world. Japa speaks with no expectation. He doesn't know anything but the truth. And I'm telling you, I don't know whether you have realized this, but if you really look at his eyes when you see him later, you can see his heart. And I know for a fact that he speaks only from his heart. And the day I met him and my relationship as a student and him as my mentor, he's one friend, one brother, one upline you are very privileged to have in your tough times. He will always be there for you. And Japa may not come across as the wildest person, but he's a warrior. He's a silent warrior. If you want to get into a fight, you want Japadas Bismarck by your side. Because if there's one person who will watch your back at any cost, who will be there for you at any cost, is Japadas Bismarck. And you can see his love and loyalty to Dato Sri Vijay was one of the core pillars, I believe, that kept us strong for 23 years. Now, Dato Sri Vijay calls him the master of one-on-one. And he may say he's not, but I'm telling you, he is. Because when he speaks even to 500,000 people tonight, if you really focus, you will realize that great gift Japa has, he will be speaking directly to you. I promise you. Just look at him. On that screen, Japadas will be speaking to you from his heart to yours. And he was part of that decision that Dato Sri Vijay and him made in 1998. And I'm forever grateful to Japa because obviously 1998, it was a huge decision for both these young men. And I have watched them. I have stood by their side for 23 years. And I saw the price they paid to keep this decision alive for all of us. And I really love Japa for that. So without taking more time, rise wherever you are in the world. Rise wherever, whichever country. Rise and help me welcome on day 2 of VCon 2021 the true master of the one-on-one, the one and only Japadas Bismarck. Convention 2021. Please help me welcome the one and only Japadas Bismarck. Haribol Japa.
Haribol Patman, namaste. Thank you so much.
They are all yours, Japa.
Namaste, everyone. Salam alaikum and greetings to everyone. Actually, since yesterday, I've been seeing a lot of your photos, the excitement I could feel, although, we're not physically close, but I could still experience the VCon. Normally at this time, I'll be running up on stage, running around and greeting all of you, but I still feel the same. But now I have to restrict myself in a seat. So, the passion I could not express myself, but I hope that I could feel the energy of all of you just watching the screen. People from all over the world, Africa, Russia, all the different areas of Africa, India, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Hong Kong. If I'm missing any country, excuse me, but you just really make this VCon. Just your attendance alone really makes VCon alive. So yesterday, I know we're on our second day, but I would like to also take this opportunity first to thank all the V partners. In fact, it was, the last 20, we had 35 VCons, Patman, but it was the first time I actually heard the stories of every V partners, wherein they were given more time to actually express themselves. And listening to all of them yesterday, I was very much touched because I was very happy at the same time that I was a little part, and I was able to help in their journey to success because I was there from the very beginning. I also didn't know what I was doing much, but I was relying a lot, of course, on Vijay in terms of what network marketing. I knew the feeling. I know the feeling of sitting in the room for the first time and listening about network marketing. I know the fear, like Patman was talking about, making a decision. This is the biggest decision I ever did in my life 23 years ago, was to actually join hands with Dato Vijay Eswaran. And it was a roller coaster ride. But like people are saying, what's the roller coaster? What's the most exciting part of the roller coaster? It's not the going up, it's the going down. So we had our falls. We had our difficulties, we had our challenges, and those were exciting times. Even the times I had in Dubai was very exciting times. So, one, I just like to congratulate all of you. I could not see clearly all your faces. Normally, it's so important for me to be a master one-on-one is to be able to see faces of people that I'm talking to. But right now, I'm looking at a camera. So you got to forgive me for, if I'm not able to express myself too much. But again, I just want to say this, that, the decision you made today, right, is very, very important. And I want you to hear, and I hope you heard the V Partners yesterday. And in fact, what they said yesterday also cemented more the belief that I had from the very beginning with VJ. And in fact, I feel a bit more secure right now that we do have strong pillars in the company that would take us again in the next 20 years. And I'm very happy that we have leaders today who's taking care of all of you network, that are actually very also firm, very humble, and that they have imbibed the mission, our vision, our mission of raising yourself to help mankind. So first, I'd like to congratulate all of you for joining QNet. For those of you who've just joined a week ago, 10 days ago, a month ago, or last year, it doesn't matter how long you've been in our company. I would like just to talk about tonight is that all of us, just like yesterday, all of us, you've heard stories of people. You heard their stories, different stories of so many different people, their failures, their success, how they made it to success. All of them had stories. So what I want to talk to you tonight, I want to talk to you about tonight, is really asking you, what is your story? And what is the story you tell yourself every day? Because I've met so many people. In fact, just this year that I've been staying at home, learning a lot of things, improving myself still despite the restriction, the pandemic. I've actually talked a lot. And I've met people who's like 40 years old and they're sick, unhealthy, totally almost ready to die in a hospital, confused. And they were asking me what happened. Why is life unfair? This is the question they were asking me. And at the same time, I meet 75-year-old man who's very strong, who runs a marathon. Okay. He's got so many projects going on. He's so fit. Okay. And he looks like he's like in his 30s. So I speak to these people and I kind of I asked them, what's your story? So I asked this friend who's 42 years old, what's the story do you tell yourself? So in fact, when he first talked to me, I already knew, based on the story he's telling me, I already knew what he did in the past. That's why he's in his condition right now. What was his story? Okay, I cannot be healthy. I cannot do this. Okay, the world is unfair. I don't have this. I don't have that. This is the story he tells himself every day. And basically, the story you write for yourself is what you become. And this is very clear. So in our life, I always compare my life or anyone's life. It's just like a movie. This whole life we have, either we have 20 years to live, 30 years to live, 50 years to live in this body we have, or 80 years. We really don't know. It's only our maker who could tell us that. But we would never know. Nobody knows how long they could live in this body that they have. But we could write the story we want. We're the script writer of this story called life. And each of us is the main actor, is the main character of this story that you have of your life. But most people would not want to write their story. In fact, they allow others to write their story for them. Their parents tell them, you're going to be a doctor. That's the story that their parents is writing for them. Oh, you're going to be an engineer. You're going to be like this. You're going to be like that. This is what we want you to do. And the world would tell you what they want to see in you, what you should be. But is that your story? It's a question you should be asking yourself. Is that the story you want of your life? So most of us, although it is our life, and sometimes because of either laziness, okay, and not having enough confidence, we allow people to make decisions for us. And that is the worst thing. That is the worst thing. And so you become, it is your story, it is your movie, but you become a bystander. You've seen movies, right? We watch movie and who do we focus on? The main character, right? It's like and the main character always goes through a whole struggle, difficulties before he triumphs. And we're like, everybody, we're cheering for him. I never noticed the bystander in the movie. The ones that sort of like sitting around, drinking coffee, making coffee. There's no dialogue or the street, the standbys. Those are also, they were put there for some reason, but they're bystanders. But in your life story, do you want to just be a bystander? Do you want to be a side cast role? Or do you want to play the main role? But see, playing the main role is a decision, like Patman was saying. It's a decision you would have to make because there's a big responsibility that comes. Just like, when they would cast a movie, right? They would choose what? A good character. They would choose a good-looking character. They would choose a healthy character. They would choose a character that would be so vibrant that people would love him, that people would just fall in love with him and they just would follow him and they would watch his movie. Why would they watch his movie? Because the guy is such a character and it exemplifies leadership. It exemplifies, we always want a hero. You know what I mean? The question is, are you building yourself today to make that role? Let's say normally they do, like in the movies, they do this casting. And casting, they would cast for a role, right? So what role are you casting for? That's the big question I'm asking. What role are you casting? Bystander who gets $500? Or are you going for the big main cast that would pay $100,000, $500,000? What role are you applying for? It's a decision that we make. So in network marketing, and this is one thing I've learned, is that we cannot be bystanders. Because bystanders, basically, you already start. It's a losing game. You would never be given that exposure. Why? Because you're an extra. You have no dialogue. Why would they give you a script to read? Your exposure in the movie is very short. Why? Because you're not important. In fact, you might even die earlier in the movie. The first 10 minutes, you die. Or you're the extra that, when somebody gets shot or there's bomb explosion in the movie, the guys that dies. But the guy who's playing the main role does not die in the movie. Plays a longer, he plays a longer role. So similarly, what I've witnessed is the people that would actually have taken major roles in their life movie lived longer. Because this is the master plan. Why are they living longer? Because they're benefiting people. They're there helping people. They're not just there for themselves. They're heroes. They're taking care of people. They're raising people. And this is pretty much what we do in our network. Because your success is very much dependent upon the success of others. And this is why we spend a lot of time in educating our network. So it's just a question really right now is, what story what story are you making for yourself? What story are you making for your life? Because it's very important for us to create this story, to believe in the story we make, And I had to do that. In the early days, I didn't have confidence. And VJ was always encouraging me. He was not telling me what to do. He didn't tell me, be a networker. He didn't tell me I should do this, I should do that. No, he didn't tell me that. He encouraged me to develop myself. And that's what I did. And because of the character building, the exposure, and when there are challenges, you volunteer right away. And that's what leadership is all about. In fact, when you speak of responsibility, the word responsibility is divided into two, response and ability. So a person who's responsible, he always responds to some challenges. When there's an issue, there's a problem, he responds and he applies his ability. And this is the meaning of being responsible or taking a responsibility. And so it's very important for all of you who's just starting your business today is to be always responsive, but apply yourself, your ability. And this is where, education and building of skills cannot stop. We have to constantly learn. Just like the last 2 years of the pandemic. Now it's turning second year. I think this is our second VCon, right? Have you grown? It's our third VCon, third year of VCon. Have we grown? Have you grown? This is something you should be asking yourself every day. What did you do? Did you just watch Netflix the whole time? Were you just being miserable that you cannot go out of the house? What did you do? How did you fill up your space? The funny thing, during the pandemic, people are going nuts and crazy because immediately they're like, have all the time in the world. But the problem is they don't know what to do with their time. So they go nuts. Even in Dubai, I heard, people jumping off the roof. They get so miserable, they jump off the roof. So you question why? What happened? So they did not build a routine. So it's very important for us from the very beginning, right? I always encourage people to set an actual routine, right? Every day, a daily routine wherein you get to improve yourself. Dato always talks about 1%. Developing yourself, increasing yourself, even 1% a day in a year, it's 37%. In 2 years, it's more. So there must be this constant learning that we must be doing on a regular basis. And this is pretty much the work of network marketing. So what is the main, really, if we talk about network marketing, what's the main, I would not say product, but what's the main thing that is important is this relationship building. Of course, we have good products. Good products are very important to have in a company. But really, what makes the product move is the leaders that we've built relationship with. You've seen the V partners yesterday. You could not imagine the time that VJ spent with them, the time I spent with them is like crazy times. I think we spend more time with the network personally than with our own family sometimes. And that's the reason this relationship has been so much established there. And this is what is holding today the network we have. So my advice to all of you, do not just focus on making your checks. Do not just focus on making money fast right away, but focus on building the relationship. And this relationship would come. This relationship, the building of relationship, you would attract people, right, of your kind. Now, in the network field, everybody wants to be motivated because that is their fuel to move. Now, if you're one person that is just so negative most of the time, and every time your downline comes to you, you run away and you don't try to help them with their issues, then you won't have these people. I've seen this in the early days when we have challenges. Sometimes you have these top earning leaders. During the challenges, they just disappeared. So we were left, and you have a few people left with their own downlines. And those people that stayed to actually face the challenges and issue, then the relationship with the network was built with them, not with the guys who just shows up when everything is good. During VCon, they want to be there. They want to go up on stage during VCon. They want to be recognized during VCon. But people know it's not about just the edification. You don't make success by being edified on a regular basis. This is not what makes VCon. In fact, there's a saying, right? The good sailors come from rough seas, right? You want to sail with a company. You want to sail in a boat or in a ship. You want to have a good, sailors. You want to have tested sailors that been to rough times, to rough seas. So similarly in the network, people see that. They don't want to network with someone who has not been through difficulties, through challenges. So around the world, and this is still very what's part and parcel of our network marketing is that we would have many, many challenges. Now, previously in the early days, I used to oh my God, I was thinking, okay, if I fix this challenge, it's finished, then it's all smooth sailing. No, it was that the last 23 years, there's 6 months, sort of like nothing is. In fact, when there's nothing happening, and VJ knows this, we're like when we go to our office or our phone is not ringing at that time, there's no messages, a bit quiet, we go, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? Or when we go to the office and we say, is everything okay? And your manager starts saying, yeah, everything okay? You're fired. We don't want to hear your story. There's no such thing. You're lying to us because there's always issues. And people would tell you everything is okay. But that's not the truth. They're lying to you. There's no such thing in life that everything's okay. Even what seems to be okay right now, there's always going to be challenges. So we have to be ready for this. And I want to equip you for this, guys. All of you listening, there's no such thing as a smooth sailing, even in our industry. And it goes with all the industries that you could get into or you would like to take on or ride on. This company has a lot of challenges. It's not just the company, but the industry itself. And that's the world we live in. There's no peaceful ride. There's no peaceful sailing. So you got to be ready for it. You got to have the stomach. Like, you know, when you ride a ship and you're a sailor, you got to have the stomach, right? Or else you get seasick because it's just too much stress. So similarly, we go through so much stress in networking. And I'm not trying to scare you, but this is part of it. But you just have to learn how to manage this stress. And you cannot take it on alone. That's why you have to build a team. And so I want you to also learn, just like in the beginning, I remember that when I was tasked, Vijay asked me to come to go to the Middle East that time. And I'm going like, Middle East? I haven't been there. I haven't been here in the Middle East. The first time I remember when I flew to Abu Dhabi, the plane took me to Abu Dhabi. And Vijay sent me here in the month of August, the worst month to come. So I landed in Abu Dhabi. I just got out of the airport and this mist of like as if I was entering a sauna. I wanted to turn back. I said, no, I got to do this. This is part and parcel of the challenges of the decision I made. I have to do this. So I stayed here. That was in 2001, and I'm still here. For some reason, Dubai loves me so much, keeps on dragging me back and forth. But we had a lot of challenges. But during those challenges, and all the leaders that were here before, Adli, Motas, Kumar, Arun George, and all the leaders, that we had great times, but we were facing a lot of challenges, but we were having great times. And those challenges gave us opportunity. The reason the whole Middle East is open today is because of the challenges that we had. So we would meet, and every time I was telling them, look, there's a storm in Dubai right now. We could not really go out. We could not network. There's a storm in Dubai. So we would play billiards. We would go at night, eat. We'd talk. We'd make circles. We would plan and strategize. So we were saying, okay, we cannot network in Dubai. What should we do? Okay, let's open up. Iran open up. Africa open up. Egypt open up. And they started building. And we had like, hey, it's happening. But we were telling them, but those countries would face the similar challenges that we had in Dubai. How did I know this? Because I come from the countries where we first started. 6 months was fine, great. 6 months, everyone's happy. They have big checks, big sales. Boom, there's a challenge. Sales drop. And I remember during this time in Dubai before, there were leaders making $10,000, $20,000 a week. Of course, they're happy. They buy condominiums, they buy their Maserati, they buy all of these things. And I was telling them, guys, storm is coming. You don't know when the storm is coming. Be ready for it. Then boom, they were just, no, what storm? Everything is okay. We're Dubai. We have good sponsor. We're like, no, but storm is coming. I knew. I saw this many times. They were not believing me. Storm came. And these leaders that were making like 10,000 a week, they during our meeting, they come back, Chapa, my check today is $2,000. It dropped from $10,000 to $2,000. And they're crying. I was saying, you moron, were you even making $2,000 before? Now you're complaining because you got used to making $10,000. The question is, what did you do with the $10,000? What were you doing when you were successful? Were you laying the grounds? Were you planning? Were you doing this? So there's the reason I'm sharing this with you, because all of you would go through the same experience. And I don't think anyone would be spared. I've not met anyone who's successful today in the network, and you could talk to all of them, that did not go through difficulties. That's why I always say, you eat more, you shit more. And that it is. You want small check, you have small problems. You have the $10,000, the $20,000 check. That's a lot of eating you're doing. And you have to be ending up facing a lot of challenges. And that's how the network. So the question here again is going back to your character. Do you have the strength to face the challenges that's coming? You know what's that movie say? Winter is coming. Are you ready for it? Right now, you might be happy with your checks. And I'm not trying to encourage you. Oh, I'm not trying to discourage you. But this is not a warning, but yes, in a warning in a way, because I know this VCon would create a lot of rah-rah for all of you. You'll be so excited after this VCon, just like everybody gets so excited. I kind of like, I'm the brakes here. Guys, okay, fine, get excited, but prepare for the rainy days. Prepare for the storm. So question always is, what am I doing today? Can I face that challenges tomorrow? Because most people quit when they're hit, when they're faced with the challenges, they run away. They just don't have the muscles to carry. And it's not just their challenges, their baby downlines who just came in yesterday would run to them, would cry to them. Can you turn them around? Is a question. That's why there's a famous saying, the Prince of Tide. You know the Prince of Tide? The Prince of Tide is someone who actually, when the tide is going this way, he goes that direction. Tide is going here. Everybody's running this way. But the Prince of Tide, he faces the tide and he turns the tide around. And that's what you should learn to do. Because you would have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people going in the direction of quitting because they've reached a problem. And you should be the leader that could turn them around. And this is what we do. Everyone, from VJ, myself, to the V partners, we do this when we do our one-on-one, our taps with our people and network. There would be days they'll just be so down, discouraged. And I had this experience. There was times in my, networking days that I was just down and just want to quit as well. I don't want to take this anymore. It's just so stressful. But I would go to my upline and VJ would talk me out of it. He would show me a perspective. Because why? I'm just so beaten up. It's just raining the whole time. Like I was in Dubai for 1 year. It was so cloudy and stormy for a year. And Vijay would pick up the phone that time and he would tell me, Japa, it's sunny where I am. The whole world is not raining. There's no storm. It's just that part of it's just that part of you. There's the storm. In fact, there's no storms in Dubai. You know what I'm saying? But where is the storm happening? In my head. That's what Vijay was saying. There's a storm in your head. It's clouding your perception. You're thinking the world is crumbling. And that's why now you just want to quit. You think it's all gloomy, but tomorrow or the next day, the sun would shine again. It took a year for me for the sun to shine. But while the sun was not out, right, I was more motivated now to be able to prepare for a next rainy day because now it's raining. Okay, what do? There's a storm, you prepare. So I got stronger. And this is part and parcel of the business we do right now. So when you hear all the V partners speak, listen to all their challenges. They were never born successful. Myself, all of us who's been successful in this marketing field went through the same thing you're going through right now. We sat in those same chairs, listening trying to learn this and being an empty cup, humble, really learning. I know a lot of you are engineers, doctors, like Dr. Motas was a doctor. When he came to me, he was a doctor. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, how can I advise a doctor? But he was very humble. He was telling me, no, the 10 years I spent in medicine is out the window. Japa, I'm yours. Please teach me network marketing, principles of network marketing. And the principles of network marketing pretty much is the principle of life. And because he had an empty cup, I was able to fill him up. Whatever lessons I learned from VJ, whatever lessons I learned in life, whatever lessons I learned from my spiritual master in terms of, how to see things. And this is very important. So it's very important that you make this decision. Patman was talking about the decision. Network marketing is a big decision. I made this decision 23 years ago. In fact, 25 years ago, when I shook hands with VJ, I made this decision 25 years ago. That's like quarter of my life. 25 years ago, and I'm still on it. And I cannot quit unless you guys don't want to see me anymore. But what am I going to quit about? Like, can you quit? It's not a job. Like Vijay was telling me, who's going to fire you, job? No one could fire you but yourself. No one could fire you in this job but yourself. No, the question is, why would you fire yourself? This is the greatest job ever. Because you have your free time. If you know how to manage it. It's financial freedom. And not only that, you become connected. I could not imagine this. Like, I'm looking at Mamta right now, and I'm looking at my beautiful wife here. You could not imagine having friends all over the world. And this is what happened. And you could build this too. I remember first time I was invited, the first year in the business, I was invited to speak in Indonesia, in Bali. And there was a guy that received me, who picked me up. He was in a 600 Mercedes-Benz. And his plate number was like the V. You know what I mean? So I said, oh, okay, I wonder what's the story of this guy. So he told me his story. And he was thanking me for the car. He said, Mr. Bismarck, this car is from QNet. I said, well, you work for it. But, thank you so much for this business. So anyway, I started talking to him. So he told me his story that he was actually in, there's this town in Indonesia. They had some sort of like between the Muslim and the Christian. There's some war that took place. They burned houses. So one of his houses was burned. So he's been living in his Toyota with his 3 kids the last 6 months. He would park in a friend's place, take a shower there. They would literally sleep in the car until they met this guy who told him, why don't you try QNet? So he did QNet. And after a year, just after a year, he bought this Mercedes-Benz. And he brought me to his mansion. It's got the V sign. Okay? And I was going, oh my God, this is, even me as a founder, I was like, it was my first time to see somebody that actually made it because of our business. And it's real. And I was like happy and shocked. Wow, this is for the story of this guy from living in a car. In fact, he sold his car to be able to get into QNet. And just after 6 months, and he's still around. In fact, he's, living the, what do you call this, residual income today. And this is the kind of business we have. It actually changes lives. And there's so many more stories of this. And in fact, I know there's so many stories of your stories that you became successful because of this particular business. So this is real, but it could only take shape if you make it, you create it. Yeah. So create your story, but create a good story. Not the story of, the weather, my parents, I can't do this, it's impossible. Create the wonderful story. Create what you would like to see. You start creating a script and be that main character of that script. Learn your lines. Like the actor would learn their lines. They would try to, what do you call this? Emote. They try to emote. And I had to do this, especially, I remember, and I was telling you the other day when VJ first gave me this, I don't know where he got this title, the Master of One-on-One. I was looking, who is this Master of One-on-One? Then he pointed, he called my name. So I was there walking, going up on stage. The Master of One-on-One is going up on stage, so that I made a slow walk. Why slow walk? And I didn't run because I was now trying to emote that I was the master of one-on-one. And voila, I became a master of one-on-one. And they say I am a master for some reason. Well, I don't know why, but you kind of you get to emote it and you live with it. And that's the story. I like the story. I made the story. It became my story. So I started creating stories in my life right now, right? Challenges that I would take today, decisions that I would make. A few months ago, I made a major decision in my life. I had to do it. It's a decision. I'm fixed. I'm going to do this. Bam, bam, bam. I don't care what people would have to say. There are always going to be dogs barking. Why are you doing this? You should do this. They're going to tell you who you should be. They're going to tell you what they want to see in you. Just move. Because they're not going to be there in your deathbed. Success is a lonely place. And that decision is something you make alone. I cannot make that decision for you. This VCon would not make that decision for you. All the thing we could do is encourage you. Hey guys, you're not alone. You're not alone in this game. I was never alone in this game. And I learned that from the beginning. So I used that. When I went to Dubai, I didn't come as Japa. If I come as Japa alone, I was powerless. But when I came to Dubai, when I come to countries, when I meet, delegates, when I meet senators, sometimes president, I don't go there as Japa. I know I'm backed up with my legals, lawyers. I'm backed up with corporate people, with my finance. I'm backed up with my director. They might not be with me, but I know they're just there. So each and every one of you, don't think small, that you're thinking, I'm just, Gupta. I'm just Mamta alone. I don't have a support. No, you have us. We are behind you. The company is behind you. That's what makes me powerful. It's not me. What makes me powerful is the backup that I have. So when I speak to people, the confidence I give them, they feel that confidence is coming because I know the backing I have. Like you have your soldier, you know what I mean? When you go to war alone, kind of like it's hard to fake it. But when you go to war and you got your infantry on your back, right? You're ready to fight. And that's what I want each and every one of you to be feeling right now. that you have, the whole company, the whole V partners, the whole network, including myself, we are backing you up in this journey called QNet, called your life. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. Salam alaikum. Greetings to all. Good evening. Thank you so much.